Hello friends, in this lecture we are going to study a poem One Day I Wrote Her Name, written by Edmund Spenser. Edmund Spenser was the greatest poet of Queen Elizabethan period. He was born in Smithfield, London in 1552. His remarkable contribution in poetry such as The Shepherd's Calendar, The Faerie Queen, Amoretti and Epithalamion and Prothalamion. He died at the age of 46 in 1599. When his coffin was carried to his grave in Westminster Abbey, his readers and friends threw many pens and pieces of poetry into his grave with full of tears. The present poem, One Day I Wrote Her Name, is taken from his Amoretti, a collection of 89 sonnets. It means that a poem which we are going to study is a sonnet. So, before going further, we just understand the definition of sonnet. A sonnet is a 14 lines poem with a fixed rhyme scheme. It covers 3 quatrains followed by a final couplet. Quatrains is a stanza of 4 lines and couplet is a stanza of 2 lines. So the structure of sonnet form is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2. I hope it is clear to you all. One day I wrote her name. In this poem, the poet and his beloved are on the beach. He writes her name in the sand, but a wave comes and washes it away. He writes it again, but unfortunately, a wave washes it away again, and again. The beloved says that it is silly for the speaker to be writing her name in the sand. She is also trying to say that she is going to die one day and disappear from the earth, just as her name has disappeared right now because of this wave. The speaker thinks a lot and used his imaginative power. He tells his beloved that he will immortalize her by writing about her in his poems. Their names will live forever in this poetry, and their love will live on forever and ever. Wow, how sweet! Now we will see a detailed explanation of poem line by line. First 4 lines. One day I wrote her name upon the strand, but came the waves and washed it away. Again I wrote it with a second hand, but came the tide and made my pains his prey. In the above lines, Spenser tells us that one day the poet and his beloved Elizabeth are on the beach. He writes her name in the sand, but wave comes and washes the name away. He writes it again, but unfortunately, the wave washes it away again and again. Our speaker is pretty fearless. He writes his beloved's name in the sand again, in the word of the poem, with a second hand, and then, oh, the tide comes in and wash her name away again. The beach is just absolutely cruel, isn't it? Friends, let me allow to jump in second quatrain. Lines 5 to 8. Vain man, said she, that doesn't in vain essay. A mortal things so to immortalize, for I myself shall like to his decay, and ache my name be wiped out likewise. Now, don't be afraid of this dialogue just because the beloved uses old English words like dust. She basically says, "Hey speaker, you are vain, that is full of yourself, and your essay means attempt to preserve is immortalize my name, that is a mortal thing, because every human being is a mortal. In the sand is silly, in vain. Got it?" She is telling him that his gesture will never work at all because he is going too proud in thinking that his writing is more powerful than the force of nature. He is trying in vain or uselessly to make her name immortal, when in fact it's mortal. It will die one day. Here, we need to point out that the speaker's beloved Elizabeth is using the word vain twice in a line. She knows this word has multiple meaning and she is drawing on both of them. When we stop to think about this dialogue is pretty cool since we get to have a direct perspective of some other than the speaker in the poem. It's pretty rare for the multiple points of view to find their way into short poem like sonnet, especially back in the Spenser's day. For I myself shall like to this decay and ache my name be wiped out likewise. These lines are the continuation of Beloved's speech. She says that she too will decay and disappear just as her name has disappeared from the beach. She too will be wiped out. In Spenser's day, the word ache meant also. It is one of those words that has been wiped out by the waves of time. So, to summarize, the beloved thinks that the speaker is being a little silly by continually writing her name in the sand, and she recognizes that, like her name, she won't live forever. Third quatrain. Not so, could I, let baser things devise, to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. My words, your virtues, rare shall eternize, and in the heavens write your glorious name. At this point in the sonnet, we get a turn in which the poem changes its tune. So far, the poem has been all about mortality, how nothing and no one can live forever. But now, the poem begins to say that actually, yes, some things to live forever. In these lines, the dialogue shifts from the beloved to the speaker himself. He tells his beloved that baser things devise to die in dust. Things that are baser or lower, less important than you will die and become dust, but you shall live by fame. My words, your virtues, are rare shall eternize, and in the heavens write your glorious name. So, how will the speaker's beloved live forever? Through his poetry, of course. In these lines, words means poetry. The writing in the sand was just child's play. Poetry does all the heavy lifting involved in making someone eternal. The speaker says that his verse will eternize all of his girl's virtues and that it will write her name in the heavens, not in the sad. His poetry will be someone that it will make her immortalize. Last two lines, it is called couplet. Where when a death shall all the world subdue, our love shall live and later life renew. In these lines, the speaker either reveals himself to be the most loving boyfriend ever or the most clueless one. He pushes the envelope even more with a immortality stuff. He says that death shall all the world subdue. In other words, that death will kill anyone, everyone in the whole world, but that their love shall live and later life renew. It means that everyone will die, but their love will go on forever because of his poetry. Thanks for watching.